So today I am going, sorry, let me take my stuff off first. Okay, so today I want to talk about shadow work. I am not an expert at any of this stuff. I'm just going to talk to you guys about what my interpretation is of it and like the things that I do. Because I know like I talk about some of those, I talk about shadow work like when I'm doing my readings and stuff, and someone suggested that I kind of go over like what is that, like how do you do that, things like that. So when I think of like shadow work, you have like your higher self and your lower self, right? Like, and I feel like my interpretation of like shadow work is like really working through your lower self, because obviously, like, not obviously, but it just needs to be a balance between your higher and lower self. And like sometimes we have like toxic traits about ourselves, and sometimes people will reference that as like, you know, working out of your shadow self, or like your dark side, right? So when I think of like my shadow self, I just think about like what are the things like I find myself either continuously going through that I don't really like. So like for example, let's say you're dating somebody and then that doesn't go well, so then you know that ends, you go date somebody else, and like you realize it's like a pattern. Like you start realizing like, damn, it's like no matter what kind of person I meet, it could be a different person, but it's like the same type of energy. And it's like, well, what is that? Like, why am I attracting these things? So maybe it's something about like working on your shadow self or your toxic side, your toxic traits about yourself, so that you can attract better things, right? So like thinking about like, well, if I dated this person and like maybe the toxic trait is I'm superficial, like I'm only looking at people from the outside and not really like paying attention to like what's really inside and things like that. Like, why is that? So like asking yourself those questions is like how you do the shadow work. Like asking yourself those questions and actually truly like working through those things. Like it's almost like healing yourself, right? So I do like shadow prompts. Some of it I googled, to be quite honest with you, like things to ask yourself. I wonder if I got, let me see, I might have a few questions on hand. So I got a journal, I got mini journals, but yeah, I like to journal certain things, like, but I'm almost certain I've gotten some questions in here. This might not even be the right journal, because again I have many. But like even working through like your feelings, your emotions, like all of that, in my opinion, is like doing your shadow work. The things that people don't see or that you don't normally show others, like that's what I would say. So like I got a shadow work that I did back in April, for inner child healing specifically. So some questions I asked myself is like, how do you think people see you? So I would ask myself that. And how would they describe you? How do you feel about it? Like based on what you feel like they would describe you or see you, like how do you feel about that? Another question could be, nobody enjoys feeling hurt, anger, rejection, betrayal, jealousy, etc. What is the very worst emotion to experience for you personally? And then why? And then where does it come from? So like just really asking yourself like some really thought-provoking questions about yourself, so that you can really think about it and like get to the root of things. Like it's really getting to the root of like why you are the way you are, so that either if it's something that is not healthy for you, you can kind of be more aware of like when it starts to arise, and you can kind of like work through it a little bit better so that it doesn't show up in a negative light. Because we all have, like I said, we all have like higher selves and darker selves. I said darker selves, higher selves and lower selves. And I don't want to make it seem like, you know, having a lower self is like the worst thing ever. It's just not operating within your lower self for like long periods of time. Like there has to be a balance, you know. I'm trying to think. Like I have some other questions on here. So a question that was here is like, what things make you judgmental? Think about a hypothetical situation in which you'd agree somebody could behave in a way you usually judge, yet be entirely innocent. An answer that I gave for myself was like seeming secretive, or not disclosing information, or changing a routine that has been going for some time. I think about how I can come off accusing someone of doing something based on an action that reminds me of an incident I've gone through with other people. So like really digging deep within myself. Like sometimes people can do things that can trigger you, right? For you to react in a certain way that you might not deem so positive. And it's like, you know, I mean, if you're watching this, then you're probably at a point in your life where like you don't want to come off as this toxic ass person. So yeah, you know, if I had to summarize what it means to like do shadow work, it's like really asking yourself deep-rooted questions about who you are and what triggers you, you know, and how you can work through those things and be able to recognize it when it's in front of you. So I hope this answered your question. I hope this was clear. I do recommend to like do more research on this, because like I said, I am not an expert. I did not sit down and like look up the definition of shadow work or anything like that. I just wanted to give you guys my perspective on it, and what I've been doing to kind of like work through those kind of things. And so always do your research and see what resonates with you. Okay? Till next time. Bye.